to the Ink Sync. I am Annie. If you're looking for Kaylee, don't touch that dial. She'll be on in just a second. You are listening to a replay from Season 3, our Stranger Than Fiction Part 2, which is a continuation of our Stranger Than Fiction series, which we started in Season 1, which is where we just talk about stuff that, if you had written it down, no one would believe you. But here it is. It's real. This is probably one of my favorite episodes that we did in Season 3. Season 3 was a shorter season, so we didn't do a ton of episodes to replay, so this is probably going to be our only replay for this season. Thank you all so much for bearing with us. We are probably going to be going back to a 1 episode every 2 weeks schedule, and I'm going to be updating all the descriptions for the podcast for that. And we are going to be starting Season 4 soon. If you have been following us for a while, we totally appreciate it. If you are new to the podcast, thank you so much for coming. We really are happy to have you here. And I hope you enjoy this Season 3 replay. We will see you back here very soon for Season 4. Kaylee, today we are doing a deep dive episode. We occasionally do these for those who are new to the podcast. Instead of doing our news episodes, we do deep dives onto topics that are literary and sundry. And today we are doing what we call Stranger Than Fiction. This is a series that we started back in Season 1, and this is now our second time doing it. So I guess we can just optimistically call it a series. But basically, we have rounded up a bunch of stories that don't make sense, but they're real.
Things that actually have happened.
Yeah, I think you said it actually in our the first time we did this. You were like, the problem with fiction is that fiction needs to make sense.
Correct. True. Sometimes things just happen and you're like, that couldn't have happened. Like that one time I saw a vulture cartoonishly slide down a wall at a medieval park or whatever in the UK. And I was like, nobody's ever going to believe that this like she scrambled at the lip, failed, and just the whole way down. And I was like, this is a Looney Tunes skit that just happened in front of me.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yep.
I definitely feel like one of those, I don't know if you've ever seen this on the internet, I don't know if it's real, but it makes me laugh every time I see it, that like card that apparently Bill Murray hands out because he just like is out in New York.
I was actually here.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's ridiculous.
Yeah. 100%.
But that's the thing, like truth, real life, reality, under no obligation to make sense.
Nope.
It just doesn't have to.
Random
and therefore,
shit can happen and you just gotta be like, that's the thing.
Right.
That sure did happen.
We're doing this now, I guess. So we have rounded up a bunch of stories. I have rounded up a bunch of stories, as have you. So let's get into it.
We again, as always, approach things slightly differently.
As always.
As always.
That's us.
But I did have a couple of articles that were, like, recent articles.
Mm-hmm.
So the one that got me the most, which was just it's not so much like, did this happen, but also this happened in a way that couldn't be downplayed, which is hilarious to me. This was reported on by BuzzFeed's whatever's left of their news. That's where I found it. This was very early this year. But apparently Fox had on a tarot card reader.
I'm sorry, Fox News.
Yes.
Had on a tarot card reader.
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to confirm that we're all on the same page here. Go ahead.
And it was to predict Donald Trump's 2024 year or campaign or...
What?
Anyway, so it didn't go well.
No!
Didn't go well.
What? Okay.
There's video, there's clips, like you can find it, like you can go watch this.
We need to we're gonna post this.
We will post some of the
We'll
clips,
have these in the show notes,
also,
and then I'll post a bunch of them up on our Instagram. For those who follow us on the Instagram, thank you so much. It is my pleasure to interact with you on the Instagram.
Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, so like this lady, and also she just looks like a ghost of a person.
The tarot reader?
Uh-huh. She pulled the 5 of Cups, which is not a great card generally speaking. Okay. And she was just like, oh no. I am aware where I'm at. And it's
oh
comical.
My gosh.
Like, how do you...
Wait, so the reading was, like, negative?
Yes. Not great.
Amazing.
Yeah,
and then, like, she had to, like, deal with the fact that she was in a Fox News studio making a negative reading about Donald Trump's future year.
Not great for her.
What?
That's the thing that happened. First off, Fox News hired a tarot card reader to come and... Anyway, like, there's just a lot going on. Like, the whole thing just seemed absurd. And it was.
You watched the video?
Yeah.
How bonkers was it?
This lady I don't know how they found her. I don't know how it got aired. She is very much she had on the big jewelry, the really large sleeved, like, jacket, like, loose jacket.
I don't know enough about TV news to know, like, how this happened.
And they published it. Like, somehow it was done in a way that they couldn't walk the clip back.
Oh my god.
Man, it was yeah.
Kaylee,
yes. I let off with a banger.
Start.
I let off with a banger because that's the thing that genuinely happened. That just why like it's not even that like super weird, but it's just aggressively uncharacteristic.
Then that's like one of the reasons that we do this, and like we always keep up with it. It's just like, imagine writing that into your story, and people will be like, that doesn't make sense. Why would a serious news organization do that? They wouldn't. This totally brought me out of the story.
Oh yeah, 100%. Or like, but it's such a what a ripoff that like she immediately picked like the worst, like a bad card or whatever, and it's not like super new. Like, you would go in knowing that like your readers would have expectations. This didn't. This is what happened. You can watch the video. We will share the video.
Yes. Oh, I'm so excited to watch the video.
So I have like one more like recent.
Okay.
And that was from like this year, and then everything else after this is going to be like a little bit later, but
historical.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or a little bit earlier, yeah. And in some cases much earlier.
All right, I'm ready.
Let me read you the headline of this. This is actually I wanted to go straight to the source. This is a press release from the U.S. Department of Justice. That's how intense this was. Montana man pleads guilty to federal wildlife trafficking charges as part of years-long effort to create giant hybrid sheep for captive hunting.
What?
So this man was importing sheep semen and was like creating clones to then inseminate his sheep and create some sort of I'm not kidding. This is an actual thing. I knew you would. I had to go to the most legit source I could because I knew that you would be like the look that you're giving me right now, and that's why I skipped the more sensational headlines. But yeah, no, he got the semen like smuggled to him, and then
okay, hold on. So back up. So is semen, like, shipping not allowed?
Not for this, not like this, yes, correct.
Oh my
God. Not of this creature, which is not a local species.
This feels like a supervillain.
The greatest sport of all, or whatever. You know, like, this is definitely building up to that. This was the intermediary. We stopped him before he could go too far, Annie. Before the captive hunting was man.
Thank God.
Long pig or whatever. I don't even know. Like, oh my God.
He's breeding people. He's breeding sheep, but also we got him before he started breeding people.
So I apologize. I did also so he like got the semen and was like inseminating his sheep, and I don't know. It was bonkers.
And so the idea was that he wanted to make massive sheep
that you could then hunt on his like property, and he was like going around on the rich hunting psychopath market like you do. I'm not against hunting in general. Like, it's not like for me.
What is this psychopath billionaire hunting market that you're referring to? Is this something that's in the Justice Department release?
Well, they were circulating it against the people that were interested in this, but he wanted to make money. You have to have lots of money to make this worth it if you're like going through all of this trouble and risking these charges. Like, he had to smuggle that shit across multiple borders.
Dude.
So, actual thing, like I said, genuinely, we definitely stopped a cloning monster in its tracks, for sure. Like, this is a thing that, or somebody else would have picked up. I'm not saying, like, this particular man was definitely gonna, like, farm babies, but I'm not gonna name names, but you can look this up. And obviously don't, like, harass anyone. He's getting punished already. But so holy fuck.
Is he going to jail? Or prison?
It was basically over, 8 years.
Oh my God. 8 years of making his monster sheep?
Yeah. Yep. So because he wanted higher prices. He wanted to be able to garner higher prices
Of course.
than other shooting reserves could charge. It was the Marco Polo sheep from Kyrgyzstan.
Oh, Kyrgyzstan.
Yes, Kyrgyzstan.
Sorry.
Thank you for correcting me.
I
Kyrgyzstan.
think that's how you pronounce it, but I could be totally wrong.
So just to be clear, these are monster sheeps. Average males can weigh more than 300 pounds.
What?
Yeah.
Wow, those are huge sheep.
And their horns that span more than 5 feet.
Wow.
So
I'm just imagining, like, how does that conversation in jail go? Like, what are you in for? Smuggling sheep semen. Now, let me tell you my master plan. Like, what?
Right. So it's still, I guess, undergoing. The trial is still ongoing.
Okay.
But for each felony counts, and he is facing multiple counts. He faces a maximum penalty of 5 years in prison, a fine of for each one of up to $250,000,
Wow.
and 3 years of supervised release.
Wow.
Now, this is fairly recent too. This the original like reporting of this was like within March. It was like March 12th. They got him dead to rights as far as it goes.
God.
It's just a matter of what happens from here as to like the updates going.
Wow.
It's bonkers. Anyway.
That's a good one.
Annie,
Find another good one.
Top sheep cloning semen importing. Oh my god.
I'll try. Hang on. So I found this conspiracy about William Shakespeare. Famously, people don't know, or people often say that we don't know who authored Shakespeare's works. They believe that William from Stratford-upon-Avon is not the one. There's a bunch of theories out there. This one is that if you read the sonnets backwards, they will tell you who the true author is. Article for this is from LitHub, because LitHub is amazing.
Yes.
On the 30th of March in 2014, I received an email from one Alan Tarica. He had been reading my work on the psychology of conspiracy theories and decided to send me a link to his detailed website uncovering patterns of a vast conspiracy to conceal or ignore the fact that Shakespeare's famous sonnets were written by somebody else. Who might this be? According to Tarica, all signs point toward the Earl of Oxford. In several conversations, Alan tried to convince me that when you read the sonnets from end to beginning, starting with the last poem and working your way backwards, hidden truths are revealed.
So do you read them normally, but you read them in reverse order?
You read them in reverse release order.
Okay.
It's like taking the Avengers and like starting at Endgame and then going backwards, apparently.
And then at the end you find out that Steve was actually Tony's dad the whole time.
Oh yeah,
basically.
obviously.
That's
yes.
the truth.
That's what I got out of it.
This is definitely if you listen to the record in reverse, you'll be able to summon the devil nonsense.
Oh my god, I was so excited. And let me finish this this paragraph. Most of my colleagues don't typically respond to such emails.
But I felt like
But I often feel a strong pull, a deep desire to learn more about what exactly motivates belief in these types of conspiracy theories. After a few emails, I sent Alan Tarica a paper about how illusory pattern perceptions is linked to belief in conspiracy theories. After I Googled his name and discovered that Tarica is an anagram for Art CIA, I quickly realized he had been obsessively emailing and attacking scholars across the board. I told him that this was not my area of expertise, but I'm sure that the truth is out there.
Thank God.
The nicest way, I think, to deal with
to
that.
disengage. No,
Yeah.
for sure. Also, just love that there is no way to extricate the X-Files from our cultural zeitgeist.
No. I mean, it hit in the 90s, and it just kind of stayed where it was.
Did I tell you? I've told you. I'm going to tell the entire world now. That X-Files is how my grandmother introduced me to fandom when I was 12.
Your gran was an X-Files fan.
And she got into X-Files fan fiction, and then she introduced me.
Was this online fan fiction, or was this...
no.
Oh my gosh.
She used to work, like, she was working with technology back before she retired, so she was fairly familiar and was, like, much more comfortable with, like, computers when they were coming out because she had to work with them.
So these are, like, old school fan boards.
Oh, yeah.
I love that. Oh, yeah. She was such a badass.
She an amazing woman every day of her life.
She would have been like, yeah, Art CIA does know what's up. The truth is out there, Art. Go get him.
Go get him, buddy.
Mine are so much less fun than yours so far. Your turn now.
I've got a fun one from like BC.
Okay.
I think AD. I don't remember which one was the older one. I'm terrible. Hold on one second.
I think BC is the older one.
Yeah.
Although I think we say BCE now.
Okay.
Before Common Era.
That's fair.
I could be wrong.
So I'll do this one first.
Okay.
This just made me laugh so much. Like I kind of did a little bit of a deep dive just because I was like, there's no way that this actually happened. But like, generally speaking, amongst historical circles, it is for the layman commonly understood that Aeschylus, the father of Greek tragedies,
Okay.
died from an eagle dropping a turtle on his bald head, mistaking it for a rock. This is actually a thing that is for some reason perpetuated to this day, and I looked into it. So Aeschylus died in 79 BC, and it's now like referenced because we have Pliny's like histories or whatever. He has a proto encyclopedia. It was talking about like 6 different eagles and like mentioned it one, and he was like, this was definitely the eagle that murdered Aeschylus because it thought he was a rock. He was like, one time this prophet told Aeschylus that he would die from having a house dropped on him, and then he never trusted being inside of a building, and then he got a turtle, and that's why eagles are the worst, the best. I don't understand. Like, I have this like multiple clips about this, but also there's no way this actually happened. Probably,
but I mean, that's thousands of years ago.
comically still persists. I don't understand. That's a thing.
Is this something that like historians think like that maybe he died from something falling on his head?
There's actually no real like, it's just, oh, he died and it was sad. There's no real like any information about this except one guy 500 plus years later that's like, yeah, an eagle dropped a turtle on his head because it thought his bald head, his like, bald heads don't look like rocks, you guys. Like, no bird. What? Anyway.
Also, is that how eagles kill turtles?
That's apparently this eagle does that.
Okay.
It like smashes them open on rocks and then eats them, or just it just assassinates random dudes. Apparently, it's a known hazard of being by the coast in this region. I don't know.
Greece sounds scary.
I loved Greece, and I would love if this actually was true, but there's no way it's true.
Well, you weren't bald, so you wouldn't know.
It's true, you're right.
You don't know from personal experience.
When I was in Greece, comically, I will give you this anecdote of things happening to people's heads. We were very hungry after a day of traveling, right? We were waiting for our last, like, study abroad kid to come join us for dinner. He was like, I'm sorry, sorry I'm late, I was just in the shower because we were in the bus all day, we were all gross. He sat down and literally a seagull pooped on his head immediately.
Kaylee, I had liquid in my mouth.
I waited.
We're good. I just showered, I feel better now. Oh no.
Yeah, he got up, he was just like, don't wait for me.
Oh my god.
And just like left, and I was just like again, speaking of things that like that have happened in my life, like to me,
yeah,
like that are just, this is from a cartoon.
That's
that
hilarious.
Nobody would believe would happen. Anyway, that's
people we often joke that like our friend group lives in a sitcom because like I feel like many of the people that we know have had similar situations happen, but like they did happen. Like, no one would ever believe. But, like, sometimes
life is wacky.
Life is insane. But yeah. I do appreciate the fact that we get this weird shit all the time.
Oh, yeah. And
I don't know.
Again, stuff like people would call it lazy writing or whatever.
Right, they would absolutely call that lazy writing.
And you're just like,
I just took a shower. Thanks for waiting. I have to go now. Don't wait for me.
This bit was terrible. I didn't believe it at all. Like, okay, but it happened though.
I like the idea of someone dropping a turtle. By someone, I mean an eagle, obviously.
Obviously. Oh, it's like the quote is just
fantastic.
so like lackadaisical from Pliny. Hold on, let me go to it really quick.
Yeah.
Because like it's just so comical.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is literally from the Natural History, Book 10, Chapter 3 of the different kinds of eagles. Okay, so I'm sorry, I got my dates reversed. I apologize. Aeschylus died in like 470 something something around there, 460 something BC, and then Pliny wrote this in 79 AD.
Okay.
The third is Morphnos. It is the second in size and strength and dwells in the vicinity of lakes. This eagle has the instinct to break the shell of the tortoise by letting it fall from a loft, a circumstance which caused the death of the poet Aeschylus. An oracle it is, with no citations, of course.
Well, he's Pliny. He doesn't.
He's his own citation. We cite him.
Yeah.
And he's like, they'll cite me in the future, it's fine. An oracle, it is said, had predicted his death on that day by the fall of a house, upon which he took the precaution of trusting himself only under the canopy of the heavens. Just a little anecdote in your Eagle encyclopedia.
I love that.
It just cracked me up. I'm just like, this is why. You are why this persists to this day, Pliny.
Yeah. All right, my next one is actually an add-on to a popular Stranger Than Fiction story that everybody mostly already knows about, but I'm going to give the rundown for those who don't. In 2023 and the latter part of 2022, a problem began off the coast of Spain in the Atlantic Ocean. Imagine that you, Kaylee, are a billionaire on your yacht.
Oh, I mean, I am, but okay. I'm actually phoning this in right now. All right.
And imagine you feel a rumble, and then suddenly something rams into your yacht. And then another something rams into your yacht.
Yes! This made me so... I can't express, like, how much I don't like the idea of people being hurt.
Right.
But if this had to happen to anyone, it could not have happened to anyone better.
To be clear, this happened, I think there's like a dozen reported incidents, and no one has died. There are obviously workers on these yachts, like, super billionaires who have yachts don't, like, yacht by themselves. They have, like, staff on the yachts, which is one of the main reasons that people get upset, possibly, when an orca pod capsizes the yachts.
Man, they were out for, I don't know if blood, but oil for sure. They were like, this ship is going down.
They took down, I think it was about a dozen incidents of orcas taking down billionaire yachts off the coast of Spain. No one died. To be clear, the only reason that we're laughing about this is because no one has died and the staff are fine. But the billionaires, wet and mildly embarrassed, were in for that.
And also their ships fucked
God.
up.
The ship's fucked up. They capsized.
Yep. Good for you, orcas.
But I do remember...
You won this round.
I do remember one billionaire being like, stop laughing. My ship's at the bottom of the ocean. And we're like, oh no, your yacht.
Sorry.
So Kaylee, this is the actual story that I wanted to tell you. So of course the staffs on these yachts, like obviously the billionaires have not stopped taking their yachts out into the ocean off the coast of Spain. So these staff members have been trading stories like, how do we avoid the orcas? Like, they're just attacking the boats, like capsizing them. Like, what do we do? Apparently, there is a anecdotally proven way to make the orcas stay away. And that is to blast heavy metal from the speakers of your yacht.
Did it work?
Yes, it did. Anecdotally. Obviously, there's no scientific evidence, but these workers on the yachts are like, yeah, it works if you blast heavy metal. Anything with a good bass, really. They told the New York Times, you have to do it very loudly, like the speakers off of the yacht to make the orca go away. And they're like, it doesn't work if they're already there, but it'll make them stay away.
That's amazing. The power of heavy. This is actually the plot of... slightly enhanced, but this is the plot of the Knights of Badassdom.
What is that?
So, oh my god, okay, you're in for a ride. Alright, so this was a movie, the guy that played Tyrion in Game of Thrones.
Okay, Peter Dinklage.
Yes, Peter Dinklage. He was in this movie.
I've never even seen Game of Thrones. I'm just very good at names.
Thank you. You're wonderful, because my brain just fried.
It's so funny. I was telling someone recently that I am good with names, but I'm not good with faces, which makes being good with names entirely useless.
Perfect. Oh,
anyway,
man, that would suck, actually. That would really suck.
It does. I'm here to tell you from personal experience.
And you're just like, hey, bud.
Hey, you.
What's up? Yeah, fair.
Anyway, go ahead.
So this movie was made before he blew up in Game of Thrones, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's another, basically a D&D style movie, essentially, where, like, the subplot of an actual, like, LARPing thing where people have, like, the foam swords and stuff are going to, like, fight. Two factions are fighting, and they're figuring out, like, whatever is happening in the sub-story or whatever, but they actually bought, a Necronomicon-style book and summoned a succubus or an incubus or something, and, like, at the end, Peter Dinklage's character becomes a paladin, and it's heavy metal, and he uses it to slay the demon, and it's amazing. It's a very silly movie. I love it. It's a great movie. The fun thing about this also is that he blew up, but basically, they had made the movie, and then a producer wanted them to change a bunch of stuff that was going to, like, he was funding it pretty much, like, wholly.
Well, that's what producers do.
Yeah, and the director was like, no, you're going to change everything. And he's like, then I'm taking my money back. And the director was like, that's fine. This is a good movie. I'll find a way. So basically, he held on to it while he was trying to drum up funding, and by the time he had released it, Peter Dinklage had blown up. So it was a direct-to, like, DVD release, but I still think it did pretty well. It's got a pretty good cult following, so it's actually a really fun movie. Like, I recommend it.
Good for that director. And
then it worked out for him, because, you know, anybody that's interested in Peter Dinklage's filmography's got another movie to watch. Alright, so this one's another historical one.
Okay.
I'm gonna read this. It's from history.com. So hundreds of 19th century Americans tried to conquer foreign lands, but this man was the most successful. Lawyer William Walker took over Nicaragua and part of Mexico with his own private army.
What?
Yes.
This was what year?
So it was... Alright, so here's how my actual intro for this was. Some guy, parentheses, William Walker, who died in 1860, invaded multiple countries with the intention of colonizing them, with the bonus addition of extra slavery. He, in fact, was successful. So he invaded Mexico, was driven back. Then he invaded Nicaragua and was successful. He had, like, 60 Americans, met with a very small local force. They totaled at max, like, 300 or less forces. Took over the capital, basically installed himself as president, and it worked for, like, just under a year.
Wow.
Yeah. Baffling.
What?
Big U.S. local hero, like, absurd, because everybody was all about manifest destiny and all that bullshit at the time.
It's still the colonial
It was
era.
like 56. It was like the 55, 56 is that period when it worked. And then, yeah.
1855 and 56.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
1855 and 56. So, yeah, so the first thing that he did after installing himself as president to get drum up support from the southern states was to repeal anti-slavery laws. What a guy, right? But it gets worse because there's reports, and to be fair, I couldn't confirm this because the reports, like the citations, were from Spanish news articles, and I just don't speak enough Spanish. I couldn't really translate this again. But essentially, so Costa Rica became concerned, rightfully so, that he was going to invade, and then he immediately, to show them that he wouldn't, invaded. And so there was conflict, obviously, and they ended up sort of kicking his ass back to a Nicaraguan city called Rivas, where he had multiple battles there. Talk about a cartoonish villain, like also twirling his mustache. Like, he had issues because he immediately, once, like, essentially Costa Rica, like, the whole thing was he was eventually ousted, like, within 10 months of taking presidency. He came back home, and then, like, it was like 56 when he got ousted, right? So in 1860, when he died, tried to invade Honduras. And the British had colonies there, and they were like, absolutely the fuck not. And basically caught him and turned him over to the Honduran, like a local Honduran government, and they just shot him. But, like, again, speaking of supervillains in real life, what actual things that have happened in our...
That is that is absolutely super.
Consider if you wrote that, like, just some lawyer, some fucking rando, and he's like, manifest destiny means that I need to conquer this other country, and just goes and it fucking works. He got like 60 like fucking, because he was in New Orleans at the time. He was like got like 60 drunk people on a ship, told him after they left the port they were gonna conquer Nicaragua. And they're like, sure, I guess.
I'm already here. That's one of the things that, like, always comes up when people are critiquing, like, superhero stories. They're like, how did the villain get all these minions? And it's just like, listen.
Look. Sometimes you just gotta go hit the bars, I guess.
Sometimes you black out in a bar in New Orleans and you wake up invading Nicaragua.
You wake up in a volcano lair in a matching outfit.
Exactly. dressed like sharks with all of your buddies, and you're just like, well, I'm here.
I guess we're doing this now.
This is our weekend. Tim, you good over there, buddy? Awesome. Let's do it.
Oh my god. Bonkers. A thing that
That's
actually
incredible.
happened. I spent a few hours like
Amazing.
looking specifically on this story to understand. Like, because I was just like going deeper and deeper. I was like, what? Why? How?
He absolutely was a Zorro villain.
Yeah, 100%.
'Cause that's when Zorro was active, was like the 1850s, I think.
100%.
That's absolutely, oh my god.
Yeah, so no,
Zorro, come quick. Nicaragua has fallen to this random lawyer and his
From
drunk
Tennessee.
Louisianans.
He started from Tennessee, got
Oh my
moved to
God.
Nicaragua, moved to New Orleans, and then it's just
in
soap opera
It's
story.
insane.
It's bonkers.
Oh man, now I have to like go through and find a really, really good one. This is from the Press Gazette, and the headline is Journalist questioned by police because car crash reports were so, quote, in-depth, unquote. Officers said they were asked to investigate by the Force Press office. This person was too good at reporting on car crashes to the point where the police were like, is this person causing the car crashes? They had, and I have to say, the picture that they got of this reporter, I'm going to show Kaylee, he looks so done. He looks so done.
Oh my god. He's like, are you fucking serious right now?
It is.
That's amazing.
I'm going to read you the first paragraph. A freelance journalist found himself visited by police and asked for information about his source after reporting independently on 2 fatal car crashes. The journalist believes the visit followed a complaint from the Force's press office that the articles contained, quote, in-depth information, unquote.
That is 100% a Murder, She Wrote. Like, I'm pretty sure that's how Murder, She Wrote started. It was probably, like, somebody was following her books. That's how Castle started. Like,
Oh, really?
Malcolm Reynolds, the actor.
Nathan Fillion.
Yeah, the Nathan Fillion show where he's, like, a cop. But he was just an author, and he wanted to get, like, involved. And at some point, there's definitely a plot where it follows his books.
I think 8 Perfect Murders is the same plot.
Yeah, 100. I bet there's an Agatha Christie probably plot as well at some point. I'm
sure, yeah.
I'm sure.
Oh, I'm positive.
She wrote so many, it must be.
Yeah, right.
I say that with zero, like, actual confirmed book. I can't tell you what book it was, but, like,
but I'm sure
in my heart.
if she didn't, I'm sure maybe there's, like, a Sherlock one, too, about that. It seems like a very, like, classic plot, but also, yeah, like, what the hell? You're too good at your job.
You're too good at your job. Clearly, you're
sir.
murdering people.
Like, oh my god. They're like, well, he learned about them and did research on them, so he must be
the
problem.
That's amazing.
That's good. Thank you for listening to the Ink Sync. I have been Annie.
I remain Kaylee.
And you
Someday I'm gonna be like, it's not me at all. Ha! Pull off my mask.
I'm Trixie.
It was Trixie the whole time.
You can follow us wherever you scroll, as long as you are scrolling on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest. And you can listen to us wherever you get podcasts. I will say that is accurate. You can get us wherever you get your podcasts, but especially on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and whatever your personal favorite one is.
In your heart.
In your heart. And you can support us wherever you support people, as long as you're supporting people on Spotify, Substack, YouTube, or Linktree. You can support us on Linktree.
And Ko-fi.
And Ko-fi. You can buy us a coffee on Ko-fi.
And also you can support us in your heart, but also please feel free to buy us a coffee on Ko-fi. And
yes.
any of the other platforms Annie mentioned.
I'm off caffeine, so it's going to be decaf for me.
That's okay. Yeah.
Kaylee's going to get a real coffee, though.
Yeah, 100%. But either way, we appreciate it.
Yes. All supporters will receive an invite to our Discord. Yep. You can support us for as low as 99 cents a month on any of those platforms. And we really appreciate all of you listening all the time.
Absolutely.
And we love your feedback. The next episode that we do is going to be a news episode. It's going to be nice. It's going to be fun. And we have some updates on some other stories that we've been talking about for a while. So very excited to record that one.
Get hype.
See you next time.